This is Jay Teaches Reading for All, Lesson 5, introducing the letter E. And I'm going to go back and review the sounds of the letters. It doesn't take long, even though the more extensive review will only go back for 2 lessons. So students, what's the sound of short A? A. Apple. How about N? Nut. How about B? B. Bat. C. K. Cap. How about D? D. Donut. And we're going to find out the sound of E in just a minute. If you would like to order a hard copy of my book, I think I made this information available on the very first lesson, but I'm going to do it regularly from now on. Send me an envelope, Post Office Box 581, well, headed with my name, J. Shutt, Post Office Box 581, Interlochen, Florida 32148, and include a check or money order, $28 if you live in the United States, $35 if you live out of the country. So you may choose to do that at some point. Now we're going to review the words, and students, I'd like you to try to say these before I do. Lesson 2 words. B and ban. Nab, nab. Lesson 3 words. K and can. Ab, cab. Back, back. All right, and since we're on this page, I'm going to have you students read these sentences to your teacher, who might be your parent, probably mom. And teachers, I'd like you to go over the words that we just went over. If you think the student needs more practice reading those words, and then have them read the sentences to you. Again, forget the true and false business. Just see if they can read the sentences and help them as needed. Press pause. All right, now we're going to go to lesson 4. And again, I'd like the student to read these words before I do. First one. Notice there's a bat here. You might be able to see that. Bad, bad. Next. Add, add. Add, dad. And Dan. And ab, dab. And here are the true and false for you teachers, to have the students read those to you as well. Get the entire sentence on there for you. So teachers, I'd like you just in a moment to press pause, have the students practice reading those words to you, and also the sentences as well. press pause. Okay, now we're going to a new lesson. This is the E, which is the second vowel that we've had. First one was A. Now we've got E. In order to form this letter, and I think I've already said that my last reminder for those who aren't doing the printing was last time. I'm not sure if I did that or not, but anyway, if I did it, this is the last of the last reminder. I'm not going to remind you non-printer practicers. You just can skip the printing and go straight to the new words, which you won't have to, move very far along, maybe a minute or so to get into that section. Okay, for those that are doing the printing, the capital E is formed by making a straight line down, going to the top, and making a shorter line across to the right, a middle line across to the right, and a bottom line across to the right. Some books have that middle line shorter. Some have the middle line the same length, so it's up to you. Now for the small e, the way I teach it for young students is you start with a C, and you may have to start a little further below the line to make the E look right, but you come up and around just like you're doing a C, and then you make a line straight across. Now for most printing books and most of us, we learned it. You make the straight line across first and then come up and around. So it's your choice, but I've just found that younger students handle it better if they do the C part first, then make the line. Okay, press pause and take care of that practice for the students. Don't forget to have them say the short E sound, which I forgot to mention. I think I said in one of the lessons I'm 74 years old, so I use that as an excuse for my forgetting. That's about the only plus I can see to getting older. So I should have done an egg in here. And, whoa, that doesn't look... That hen had difficulty with that egg. Anyway, we'll just put Channy's up here because Channy's also uses egg. Channy's eggs look better. All right, so it's egg is the short sound. Now the long sound of E is E, but we're going to focus for now on the short sound So now press pause, teachers, and let the students practice each one 2 or 3 times, tracing, printing, making the sound Press pause. All right, now we're going to read the new words. And here they are. The first one is a boy's name, Ed. Ed. Slide that over a little bit. The next one is a place of rest, Bed. Bed. Notice these rhyme. Ed, bed. Okay, the next one, a boy's name, Ned. Ned. So we have 3 rhyming words here. Ed, bed, Ned. Okay, now, end. You're at the end of the road. And another boy's name, Ben. Ben. A rhyming word with Ben, den. Den. And this is a smaller room in a house that's used for maybe reading or watching TV or doing computer work, something like that. All right. Now, the next section is printing. Practice printing these words and having the student say them after they print them. Now, some of you, if you have young students, you're going to be using dot to dot for this practice. Older students, teachers, you've got the option of not doing this section if you think your student does not need it. But for most students, I would highly recommend doing this section. Practice printing or tracing the word and then saying it a couple times, I think really helps. But your choice. Okay, press pause. I'd like to mention this as a reminder. Teachers, you can always split these lessons up into more than one session. Depending on the student, the student may be hyperactive, the student may get bored. You just have to make that call, but don't feel bad at all about splitting the lesson into more than one session. Okay, our next section is going to be the spelling, and I probably should cover this up. It's going to be the spelling test. If you're dealing with a young student and you're using those 2x2 cutouts, you're going to need a capital and small E, capital and small B, capital and small N, and a small d. So you're going to need 7 letters for that. All right, teachers, press pause and give the students the spelling test. All right, our next section is going to be the true and false. And you'll notice that I've underlined some words because these are sight words. I'm going to call them elephant words because you just have to remember them at this point, although neither one really violates any phonetic rules, but we just haven't had some information. This word is the word be, and so you can hear that the E doesn't make the eh sound, short E, but it makes the long E sound. So this is B. This word, at, and we have not gotten to the T yet, but T makes the T sound. So this word is at. I'm introducing these words because we're going to use them a lot in true and false sentences, so it just makes life easier for the teacher, me in this case. Teachers give students a few practices on these words, make sure they know them, and then have them read the sentences to you. And this is the last time I'm going to explain this part. Well, I shouldn't say it's the last time because there may be some teachers joining these lessons later. And so because of that, I will be mentioning this again, but have the students read each one twice. First time, they read it silently and tell you whether they think it's true and false. The second time, they read it out loud, and of course, help is needed, and they give you their final true and false answer and give you a reason for their answer. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want students to get in the habit of actively thinking as they read. And if they know they're going to be asked to explain their answer, they're more likely to be actively thinking as they read. Even as adults, we find ourselves reading a section and then we get done and we think, I don't remember a thing about what I read. The reason we don't is because we were not actively involved in it. We weren't thinking that, we might get quizzed on it. So anyway, that's why I'm doing that. So teachers, press pause and take care of the true and false. All right, my answers to the true and false. And again, remember that if the student answer is well thought out, reasonable, give them credit for a correct answer, even if it doesn't agree with mine or with what your answer might be. As long as they're thinking it through logically, then you can give them a correct. All right, here we go. Ed, Ned, and Ben can be bad. Well, I think anybody can be bad at times, so I would say true. Number 2, Dad can be at an end. Well, that could be true. This is kind of a sentence that doesn't really finish the thought. He might be at the end of a job or at the end of a computer game or something. I would put true. Student might put false because it doesn't make complete sense. Number 3, Ann and Dan can add a bed. It depends on how you look at this. If you're looking at it like they could add a bed to a room, then it's true. But if you're looking at it from the mathematical point, you can add numbers, but not a bed. So it depends on how the student looks at that one. But for me, I'd put true. 4, Nan and Ned can be at a cab, and they could be standing next to a taxi cab. So I would put true for that one. Now, the next lesson that we'll be doing is lesson 6, F, which makes the sound of f, as in flag. So I'll be waving the flag to welcome you into lesson 6. See you there.